Namaste. Good morning, beautiful souls. This morning, in the energy of the new moon in Sagittarius, I'm going a little bold and I'm going to read from the Ali Man Tarot. This is a deck that has 78 cards, more than actually, I've selected 78 cards from different decks. This is a new moon that is asking us to be very brave, to be very bold, and to stand in both our courageousness and to know that it can exist while everything else is also going on. To stand with one leg in different worlds, in different situations, is entirely possible. It just requires a tremendous amount of strength and the ability to affirm and to commit to one's path. And so that's part of what I'm picking up for this energy. And so in what way can each of us aspire to be courageous enough to do that and to let our wild warrior self stand always? As always, we ask these messages be in the highest for the greatest good and that no harm be done. So be it. Okay, so let's go with the ones that are cut. 6 of Pentacles. I don't have my guidebook here, so unfortunately I can't tell you what decks these are from. If somebody in the chat has their Ali Man guidebook out. This is really beautiful. It looks a lot like a world card. I'm sensing here that, I mean, look at how she is standing, creating. It's like the gift of giving just keeps giving beyond their wildest imagination. The more she gives, the more she grows. I love that. The more she gives, the more she grows. What does that mean? What does the verb give mean to you? And that might be something you want to sit with and journal. Is this giving? I mean, there's so many things, so many ways you could interpret this. Is this the time that you give to yourself? The time that you honor this wild, very different part of yourself that perhaps has been contained for some time? Wow. And then we're getting one of my favorite cards in this deck. I actually bought the Neon Tarot just for this card, and I'm really looking forward to it. I will be working with it in the new year. Look, and again, look at what is building here. Look at how those coins are stacked one upon the other. This is not about accumulation. I feel like this is almost a response to yesterday's reading. Maybe that giving is gratitude. The giving could be your space for your gratitude practice. And the more you give, the more you grow. The more your wealth grows, the more your abundance grows, the more your health grows. Good morning. I can see There's a few of you coming in. Hello. And again, welcome to Leela Pretorius. Thank you. Warrior Girl, good morning. And I also want to acknowledge your email that came in yesterday. I, at some point, will address it. And I'll just touch on that in a moment after this, after today's inspiration. Good morning, Clevis and Helen. Tere, if that's how you say it. Good morning. Emilia and Saskia, Kalispara. Ramon, namaste, blessings to you. New moon blessings all around. Tara with G, namaste, good morning. Nateski, so lovely to have you live here. Welcome, I'm really enjoying your comments. And Natetsky. All right, welcome. All right, so yeah, the more you give, the more you grow. These cards were well shuffled, all pentacles, all pentacles. This is a court that knows all about giving. And I think sometimes that there's so much joy in it, so much joy. The piece here is letting go of any and all expectations. I give because it fills my soul. I give because it fills my spirit. Kenton has some words of wisdom for us. Those are like old Chinese coins, yes. You know, I'll tell you a story. They have the 5 yen coin is like this in Japan as well, with the square hole in the middle, or maybe it's a round hole. Can't remember. And when I got married in what year did I get married? 1992. I got a roll or two of these from the bank, and I put a ribbon. I put a ribbon in them, and I gave one to everybody that came to my wedding. So, you know, this makes me think about how, you know, we can use these lucky coins to focus on accumulation of wealth, but this is also going to grow in other ways. And I think that central card says everything. The more you give, the more you grow. Wow. Okay. So yesterday, was it Casey? One of you was asking about pendulums. And I thought I would talk about pendulums and pendulum practice today. These are just beautiful. Oh my goodness. I'm going to put these up on my little stand right away. Okay. I really enjoy pendulum practice. I find it very calming, very centering. And I thought I would try something today. I'm going to calibrate a pendulum for you, something that I haven't used as a pendulum. And I'll do my best to I'll do my best to show you on the camera, adjusting the camera for you. So pendulums can be used to answer yes or no questions. That is probably, I think, the most common use for them to get confirmation on something. And I mentioned, I believe, the first day that working with Shiva Lingam energy is very potent for me. And I'm going to show you another favorite pendulum that I would not be without. They can also be used to find things. And I've had tremendous success in locating objects. The trouble with that is, though, you have to let your ego get out of the way. But that has been very successful for me. And one of the ways you can do that is you start by process of elimination. Is said object in the house? Yes or no? If it is in the house, then you can draw on a piece of paper, or you can just sit there. Is it in the kitchen? Is it in the garage? It's a very effective way to find things. And so that's been very, very useful. And then most recently, I've used pendulums to cycle energy. So if there has been an ache or something that needs healing, like maybe there's a cut, or I'm just trying to think, what was the last thing I used it for? It was something on my hand. And so I used the energy of the pendulum to increase the frequency of the healing on my hand. It was really, really something. I've also used this on George, on my partner. It's really quite something how that works. And honestly, I don't know how or why I started doing that, but it's really now this is a little different than how I use a pendulum when I'm practicing Reiki. So when I'm practicing Reiki, I'm chatting with the pendulum's energy and saying things like, is this, with the pendulum over the solar plexus chakra, is this the source of what is going on? Yes or no? And pendulums tend to get very, very active in Reiki practice. So there's an abundance of ways that I use a pendulum. Yeah, and I wanted to show you this other one. This is one of my favorite ones. This is a Merkaba. It's so beautiful. I love this one. And it's saying, yes, and I know you love me. All right, so what I'm going to do is this. I hope you can see it here. I use my left hand, okay? And I'm just going to ask a couple of questions just to confirm my yes and no direction, all right? Is my spiritual name Sadhana? And my yes is a clockwise circle. This is kind of going elliptical, but it's very, very energetic. Okay. Okay. Was my name gifted to me by Swami Yogananda? Oh, you clever thing. No, it was not. Okay, so my no is like this. And I discovered recently that my yes is my I don't know is a vertical line. Okay. So I have never used this pendant as you're not a pendant. This is Swamiji. This is Swami Satsangi, a younger picture of her. And on the back is Sri Yantra. And I've never used this as a pendulum. So I'm going to see if I can calibrate it as a pendulum. And you can use anything as a pendulum, anything that has a weight to it. It's on a string, about no more than 6 inches. I use that. I use my left hand. And there's a little bit of a kink in the thread, but that's okay. There's a decent weight to this. Okay, so I'm going to start talking to the pendulum and see if it responds. Let's get this string in my hand. Okay. All right. What should we ask the pendulum? All right. Is the new moon in? I'm actually not going to ask this because Swamiji probably does only Vedic astrology. So that's really funny. And she's saying, yes, I do Vedic astrology. That's funny. Okay. Is my date of birth August 12th? Yes, very strong. Okay. Now what else? What I'm going to ask? What should I ask? You can put a question into the chat here. What should we ask the pendulum? Should we ask the pendulum something kind of crazy? Okay, how about this? Is Michaela going to come home for Christmas? No. It's really very strong. I love it that Swamiji is talking to me. It's, you know, pendulum work is, it's a great way to connect to your own energy. And you can calibrate, once you have worked with a pendulum, I think you can calibrate just about anything. I have had situations. Now, this was in a store. I picked up a pendulum that I absolutely loved. And it was like, oh my God, I have to have this pendulum. It is so beautiful. And I picked it up and I asked it some questions and it started going nuts. It was just, it was like that scene in Harry Potter when he picks up that first wand and blows up the store. Now, I hadn't cleared it, but I sensed it was not for me. So when you go into a store and there's been a bazillion people that have touched them, if you are in a metaphysical store, just ask. They will give you something to smudge it, to clear it. They will wash it for you. Just do that, and then you can test it. I probably should have done that, but because of the drastic reaction, I didn't purchase that pendulum. Yeah. Okay. So, a couple favorite things. Now, tarot tip of the day after I have a sip of tea. Okay. So, I want you to create a mashup deck of some sort. It's a really great exercise. Very contradictory to what I offered the other day. The Aliman tarot is, right, a bunch of different cards from 78 different decks. I did this actually, but the trouble is when I did that, all of my cards were a slightly different size, and Dane 7, I'm trying to think of his name, Aliman, of course, had to configure all of the artwork so that it all fit on these standard size cards. And because it's not a cohesive deck, not all cut together, there is slight variations in size, but they're all pretty darn close. Now, what I would suggest you do is that you find 5 tarot decks that have standard size cards. Okay, so take 5 tarot decks, all with the same size cards. And I would suggest choosing these decks based on I'm not going to do this right now. It would take too long, but let's just pretend here we take out 5 decks that are all standard size. Okay, that's 3. And from this deck, I'm going to choose the suit of Pentacles. And I think I'm going to choose the majors from here. This one doesn't matter. Every suit is absolutely fantastic. I think I will. Here's another one. I would also suggest choosing similar finishes as well too. This is kind of rose petally. I don't want to use that one. So have that consideration as well too. So not just 5 decks with the same size cards, but similar finish, similar quality finish, so that they are easier to shuffle. I will do this, and I will share this with you tomorrow. Anything else that would be important? I would suggest that you choose a deck that you actually like the suit of swords, or you are averse to the suit of swords, and do that for each of the suits. I think it's you either, you're really charmed by the suit, or it's just really, really challenging for you. That might be really good to work with a deck that a suit from a deck that you don't really like, and then you can put that in with some favorites. And then you're going to take 14 cards from one deck, 14 cards, 14 cards, 14 cards, and then 22 cards from another deck. This is a lot easier than doing the 78 card mashup thing. And I would start with this, and really, honestly, this kind of thing gets you, it gets you believing more in tarot. Like the reading I did this morning, I'm very reluctant, or was very reluctant, to work with a deck like the Alleyman Tarot. And these kinds of crazy exercises really stretch your mind and are really good for you as a tarot reader to test your mettle, so to speak. Okay, there we go. That's my tip for today. Have fun. And it also feels kind of like a bold Sagittarius move as well. Sagittarius new moon. I do not have my thumbnails up yet for later today, but I will be back for breath at 11 and live readings at 12:30. So I hope to see some of you then. Take good care of yourselves. And of course, I'll be back for Advent Calendar Day 13 tomorrow. Namaste.